Purdue superfan and cancer research advocate Tyler Trent died 3 years ago this month. News 18's Perry Apostolakos spoke with those who knew Tyler and knew about his legacy. Now, Perry, I did want to ask you, did anything surprise you while you were digging in and covering the story?
Actually, Cody, there was something that surprised me. The need for funding and donations to pediatric cancer research is much more than I expected. Hear from those who knew Tyler about how his passion for advocacy lives on, along with his resilience. Take a look. An author, a journalist, a Boilermaker, and a cancer research advocate, Tyler Trent's life's work lives on 3 years after his death from osteosarcoma on January 1st, 2019. Even as those who loved him grieve his loss.
Losing a child is like losing an amputee. You know, you lose your or a limb, you lose your arm, and it starts to heal back, but it's still never there.
Tyler's parents, Tony and Kelly Trent, have honored their son's memory by starting the Tyler Trent Foundation. It raises funds for what the Trents say was Tyler's true passion, pediatric cancer research, which receives only 4% of government research funding. But it's not the only way he is remembered. Purdue University named their endowment for cancer research after the former student. This weekend, Purdue alumnus Patrick O'Donnell, who did not know Tyler, will run the Walt Disney World Marathon for the second time in his honor and raise funds for the endowment. Kelly says the influence her son has in his community and beyond, even after his death, is surreal.
Understandably, people move on and forget, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's the way human nature is. And so just to keep it out there and to hear from people brings us just a lot of comfort that we wouldn't otherwise have.
Tyler donated his tissue to Riley Hospital for Children, where he received treatment. And his story inspired another young man from Ohio to do the same.
Before Tyler made his donation of tumors, it was really unheard of that kids would do that. Or if they did do it, it was done anonymously. So no one really knew where it was coming from, how old that person was. And so really Tyler's example of donating his tumors has kind of spurred a plethora of people, of kids that when they get cancer, they want to do the same thing.
In Indiana, there are about 300 pediatric cancer diagnoses per year, a small number compared to adult cancer diagnoses. That's why one of Tyler's oncologists, Dr. Jamie Renbarger, says donations like Tyler's are critical to the work towards finding a cure.
We don't want lots of kids to have cancer, and at the same time, we want to be able to learn and advance the field as much as possible so that kids can benefit from these amazing new treatments as well.
Tyler's donation is still being used by researchers today.
This gives meaning to my son's life. It gives meaning to potentially helping another family down the road someday. So my son didn't lose his life in vain, if you will.
If there's one thing Tyler's story is full of, it's meaning. Links to the organizations and people raising money in his honor are linked to this story on our website, WLFI.com, along with a link to his book's website. Reporting in studio this morning, Perry Apostolakos, News 18.